Over the past 3 years, I've uploaded over 20,000 t-shirt designs to multiple different print-on-demand marketplaces. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 9 lessons that I learned along the way, which will help you understand what you should be focusing on, as well as what to expect if you upload a lot of designs. Lesson number 1 is a misconception that I had when I started out, and some of you might have as well. And it's the fact that your sales do not scale proportionally to your design count. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say you've got a Redbubble shop with 1,000 designs and you're making $100 per month. Now you might be looking at other shops out there, see that they have 5,000 designs and be like, wow, they must be making $500 a month. I wish I had that many designs. And it's not really true. Having more designs is definitely not a downside. You will notice like an average increase in income, but it doesn't mean that it is proportional. Just because I've uploaded 20,000 designs, that doesn't mean that I'm making 20 times as much money as when I just had 1,000 designs. It also completely depends on what sorts of designs you upload. If you always chase trends and most of the designs in your shop are trending designs that might do well for a short period of time, but half a year later will not be relevant anymore, then your income is obviously not going to go up proportionally to your design count. And yeah, that's definitely one thing to bear in mind, that yes, creating more designs is great and it's definitely going to help you out in the long run, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will increase your income proportionally to your design count. Lesson number 2 is one that might help a few of you out, or at least open your eyes a little bit, and it's the fact that most of my best-selling shirts are original designs and not a copy or recreation of already existing best sellers. And don't get me wrong, I definitely think that getting inspiration from bestsellers or recreating some bestsellers can be good, and you can have success with that. I have done that a lot in the past as well. But for having like really successful best-selling t-shirts, usually the best method is to come up with something more original or be the first to have an idea. It's definitely the hardest sort of design strategy to take, but I did want to just make you aware of the fact that for me, from my experience, the most success I usually see with more original ideas. A lot of them also just never sell, to be honest. There's definitely a high percentage of designs that you think might be a good idea, but just never see anyone buying it because there's actually no interest or no one finds it as funny as you do. But if you do actually sort of stumble upon a really good idea, or at least an original design in terms of layout and creativity, then you definitely have a higher chance of getting more sales in the long run rather than just copying what everyone else is doing. Lesson number 3 is quite a relevant one in terms of the time I'm uploading this video, because it's related to Q4 and I think can be very motivating for sort of new print-on-demand sellers. And it's the fact that from my experience, during the Q4 sort of Christmas sales rush in November, December, you will see a lot of new shirts of yours selling that probably didn't get any sales all year long, and quite a few of these shirts, if they're evergreen designs, will then carry on selling next year. This will lead to like an average increase in your monthly income. And to put this into perspective to you in terms of numbers, I'll just give you an example. Let's say that you've created 1,000 designs during this summer and you've only seen about 100 of them get a sale. You're not really happy with like your rate of designs that are getting sales. Now during November, December, you might realize that out of those 1,000 designs that you created, actually 300 managed to get a sale, and then the year later you will get around 200 designs selling on a more regular basis, which that's definitely been reflected for me many times after Q4, where I've noticed a lot of new designs getting sales. If you put in a lot of work throughout the year and you feel let down by your current sales, then Q4 can always be really helpful, and your work throughout the year can really pay off for you, not just during Q4, but also for the next year after that. And this leads me on to my next point, which is the fact that most of your designs that you upload will never sell. And this is sort of a sad reality that most print-on-demand sellers have to live with. It's definitely not just you. Most people speak about the 80-20 rule. It also exists on the Pretty Merch dashboard, I believe. Basically, what it means is that 80% of your designs never sell, whereas 20 or about 20%, obviously this is different for everyone, but about 20% do get at least one sale, And I would say from my experience, out of those 20% of designs that do sell, you maybe get like 10 to 5% that will actually regularly sell and yeah, obviously generate quite a lot of your income. And yeah, so this is somewhat annoying. It's obviously, if you focus on it too much, very depressing to think that most of what you design will never be sold, never really benefit you, but it does actually benefit you, because the more you design, the more you sort of sieve through the stuff that no one's interested in, and you keep finding more and more designs that are within that 20% of stuff that does actually sell. This is something that's definitely important to realize for beginners, because if you've only created 10 designs, no wonder you're not getting any sales. I mean, I'm creating thousands of designs and I know for a fact that many of them will never sell, but I do have the positive mindset, or the hope that obviously out of those designs there will be some in there that will create regular income. And that's definitely what you have to bear in mind. Yes, most of your stuff will never sell, no matter how good it is. Like, you can make really good and targeted designs for really good niches, but even if you upload like 30 of those really good designs to that niche, chances are at least 20 of them are probably still not going to sell, right? So definitely something worth noting and worth realizing for beginners who maybe are expecting a lot of their designs to make sales if they're half decent, but that's not really the truth. Lesson number 5 is that from my experience of selling on multiple different marketplaces, the potential for sales is definitely the highest on Amazon or Merch by Amazon and Etsy. Just the amount of traffic that those two websites get is massive compared to some of the other ones like Redbubble, TeePublic. Can compare traffic on websites on a website called SimilarWeb. I'll leave a link to that down below in the description just in case you're curious. It is quite interesting to look at these numbers sometimes. But besides the fact that there's a lot more customers on Amazon, Etsy, it's also harder to sell on them in a sense, because on Amazon they're really strict with who they let in, right? Not everyone who applies actually gets accepted into their program, and even if you do get accepted, you obviously have to tier up to actually have an impact in terms of how many designs you can upload, which then also takes a while, and a lot of people might struggle or give up before they reach a higher tier. On Etsy, you don't have automatic fulfillment. You have to work everything out with a separate third-party print provider like Printful, Printify, and this is like another big barrier to entry, which will stop a lot of people from that type of print-on-demand business. Whereas marketplaces like Redbubble, TeePublic, Spreadshirt, they're really easy to upload to, they're really easy to sign up to, there's no real requirements, so that means there'll be way more people uploading, selling designs, and the customer base is comparatively lower. So this is why, in my opinion, and from my experience, the potential for income is definitely a lot higher when it comes to marketplaces like Amazon and Etsy. Like, don't get me wrong, I have also seen a lot of success and made a lot of income with sites like TeePublic, Displayed, Tostadora has been a good one for me. But overall, I think for most of those sort of secondary print-on-demand websites, throughout the year, you'll probably just be sitting at like $100 to $200 per month, which is still a nice amount, but I don't think many people really go above and beyond the $1,000 per month mark very often. Whereas on Merch by Amazon, that's obviously quite reachable or doable. You know, a lot of people do those sorts of numbers. But yeah, if we speak about the secondary marketplaces, I think that's a lot less likely and a lot less realistic. Lesson number 6 is the fact that on different marketplaces, totally different designs and products sell. Now, this is why you shouldn't be ignoring secondary marketplaces like the ones I spoke about before. I often hear about people who only upload to Redbubble, only upload to Merch by Amazon, and I get it, like maybe you just don't have time or you don't really want to diversify as much, but in my opinion, it is definitely worth trying out other marketplaces. From my experience of having so many designs on like 10 plus different platforms, there is so many niches on Merch by Amazon that I never really get sales in, or like very rarely, but on another platform I'm getting daily sales in that niche. And if I only limited myself to like 1, 2 or 3 websites, then a smaller percentage of my designs would sell. It's not just the designs either, it's also the products. So on Zazzle, for example, I do sell a lot of greeting cards, and it's just a platform that really promotes that sort of product, and different designs have interest on greeting cards than on t-shirts. Like, you might notice a wide range of totally different designs of yours selling, just because they're printed on greeting cards, and whilst they don't have a big margin, the volume can really do wonders here. Sometimes I have days where I sell like 5 or 10 greeting cards, or multiple ones in one order, which then brings up the royalty. So that's for Zazzle. A lot of you probably also know that Redbubble sells a lot of stickers. On TeePublic, I've noticed that as well, that a lot of stickers and magnets sell besides the t-shirts and that sort of normal stuff. So yeah, definitely don't leave your designs sort of unseen from the world. They might have way more value than you expect. They might never get you sales on Redbubble, Merch by Amazon, but on other marketplaces there might be interest for them. So don't limit yourself. Try and spread your wings if you have the time, or if you are able to invest in upload automation. I would highly recommend it. This next point is one that Juna from Detour Shirts has recently pointed out a few times, and I definitely agree with it as well. And it's the fact that some of your old designs, even if they were selling really well back in the day, might eventually drop off and sort of stop selling or only sell very occasionally. And this is obviously unfortunate because it does mean that print on demand isn't passive income completely. Like, you still have to keep adding stuff because some of your old stuff will just eventually be ignored by the marketplace or by the customers. And maybe over time, if you just ignore print on demand for a few years, your income will drop really low. Obviously a bit annoying, but it's definitely something to bear in mind that not all of your designs, even if they're doing really well now, will still do well a few years down the line. I do definitely have designs like that, like, don't get me wrong, not all of your designs will just suddenly stop selling, but for some of them, I'm guessing the marketplaces want to keep their catalog fresh and keep showing their customers new stuff, so they're probably eventually like cycle out some of the old designs and give new designs a chance. Definitely not a massive downside and nothing to really be that worried about, but I did want to make you aware of it because if you're new to print on demand, you might not expect this being the case. Lesson number 8 that I learned over the years is that scalable designs definitely have a lower chance of getting any sales. So the 80-20 rule that I spoke about earlier doesn't really apply here. Scalable designs are awesome, don't get me wrong. I have uploaded a ton of them, obviously, because I have got 20,000 designs. Most of them are probably scalable if we look in terms of percentage. And they are amazing because you can really quickly create a lot of designs with minimal effort and they can still get you sales. But if I had to think about, like, let's say you make one scalable phrase suitable for 200 different hobbies. Most of those designs will never really sell because there's a lot of hobbies in there which are either really high competition or they're so low interest that nobody really looks for the designs or ever buys them. Maybe during Q4, like for Q4, scalable designs are amazing, but throughout the year you will not notice 20% of your scalable designs selling. That's definitely not the case. So yeah, whilst they're good, they're sort of low effort and an easy way to build up a high amount of designs on multiple marketplaces, they don't have a sales potential that is as high as with traditional evergreen designs that you create on like a one-to-one basis. Do I still upload them? Yes, I do. I still create new ones quite frequently, but if you move into scalable designs, definitely don't expect them to sell as much as your other ones. And lesson number 9 is the simple fact that evergreen designs or evergreen niches are the way to go for sustainable and reliable income. Trends are good, don't get me wrong, but they're mainly good for people who are in the lower tiers who need sales right now to tier up on Merch by Amazon. But if you are in a higher tier, then chasing trends, in my opinion, is not really worth it. I still enter trends every now and then and create designs for them, but usually in 99% of cases, yeah, you might get a few sales in like a short span of time and see an increase in sales then, but usually the trends don't last and then those designs never sell again. Very rare occasions like Black Lives Matter, I remember I created a few designs at the start of that trend and they carried on selling throughout the entire year, but that was really a one-off thing, a very long-lasting trend in 2020, I think. So if you want sustainable income with print on demand, evergreen designs are definitely the way to go. And if you want to find out how to enter evergreen niches successfully, then you definitely need to check out this video next, because it's going to help you triple your Q4 sales.